All right, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Danny, and this is the Common Rule podcast. Well, it is First Friday here in Phoenix, February 1st, and out here in Phoenix, what we have is art walks. Every first Friday of the month, Phoenix puts on there's a community art walk show. Usually there's a lot of good art shows just to get the people out and about, and check out some very interesting things. So that's happening today. So I'm just going to record this little episode and get out there and check it out. Today, Phoenix Film Revival is having a community show, portraits. A bunch of people submitted their portraits, and he's going to have them on display out there at Phoenix Film Revival. At PHX Film Revival is the Instagram sponsor of the show. And also let you know, this show is also brought to you by the letter C, as in community, and the number 16. All right, I just wanted to start off by saying a couple of things. I've had a very interesting past week and a half or so since the last podcast. I shot a couple of times. Finally, I hadn't shot with a model in a few weeks, and even before that, a few months. Well, that was very cool. Got to shoot with someone I shot before, Laura. She was very cool, and someone I haven't shot with before that turned out to be very, very cool shoot with Ro. So those turned out some great portraits. I'm very, very stoked about those and sharing those online. Had those, but again, bugging you again. Next month, first Friday in March, is when my art show is coming up. And that's where I am, finally have my first major art show here in Phoenix. I've had a couple of showings before, but this one's a solo show. It is going to have a theme and a point to it, and it's going to be very nerve-wracking, to say the least. It is, like I said, just me by myself. I haven't had one of those in a long time, so I've been gearing up for that. I've been printing away. I have been stressing a little bit. Finances are playing a bigger part in this than I had hoped. While I'm not directly tied into this political bullshit, with the government shutting down and things like that, I think it's a derivative, and indirectly I'm being affected by it. And it sucked. I did count my chickens before they hatched a little bit, but I mean, some things had to be done. Well, we'll see. It's either way, it's going to happen. It's at the end of the day, I've been chugging along with that. I've been the stress level. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm fucking pulling my hair out or anything like that. It is just when you have a plan and when you wanted to be somewhere and you're not. That's the whole issue. I'm not going hungry, or I'm not in a bad spot. So shit could be a lot worse. Either way, I'm pretty stoked about that. I mean, lucky me that I get to be stoked about or stressed out about shit like that. So anyway, I have friends that are pushing me and helping me along here, and it is awesome and helping me out. But this is going to be more or less the point of this episode. I want to talk about the pros. I want to talk about the pros and the cons of community. When you get together with a group of people who are like-minded and goal-orientated, it is a beautiful thing. From the very basics of playing a team sport, of knowing how it is to work with others and having that all for one and one for all mentality to reach a certain goal, that's really beautiful, really nice, and really good feeling. But once you're out of playing sports, having a community, and more specifically, a creative community, is so important for your growth. You can only think of so many things on your own. And once you get a community, whether it's a real community or an online digital community, where you get to bounce off ideas or look at shit digitally, and just, how many of us have friends, quote unquote, that I've never met in person, but through the means of technology are in continuous communication creatively through the web. I have a couple, and it's pretty, while it is surreal, it's helpful and it's good. And of course, there's always these real communities. Some, you go to anything from your poker game, your weekly poker game, down at, who knows where, to the knitting class, to, even in the most self help ways, even your, those meetings people go to better themselves and fight addiction. There's a reason why you go to these groups and these meetings is because, with other people's help, you can get things accomplished easier and with less stress. I mean, the pros of community, of course, are all those. You bounce ideas off each other. You get inspired by somebody else in the group or the ideas. You guys start brainstorming. You form these relationships and this camaraderie with other people. You have fun, man. You got to have fun with these people. Or else, it's a waste of time, obviously. And some of the side benefits, too, is if you're open to it, you learn tolerance, you share, you have compassion working with others. You have interesting conversations. You have interesting drinking buddies. And again, you're supposed to have fun. And these are the very obvious benefit of being in a community. Funny is I love samurai movies and I love Akira Kurosawa, of course. And at one point, there really isn't too many places to go out here to go obviously see samurai movies, but there is one place that once in a while has them and has old kung fu movies, and they're just things just show old movies, and it's a bar here called Film Bar. And one time they were showing Jojimbo. It's one of Akira Kurosawa's movies. It has been copied and redone so many times. I mean, it's made Clint Eastwood's career, of course. It's a very cool movie overall. Main actor on that is Tishiro Mifune. Him and Akira Kurosawa made a lot of movies together. And I'm sitting here in Phoenix thinking, you know what? I'm probably the only one that really appreciates Akira Kurosawa and old samurai movies. I'm going to go check this out. And the whole time I really am thinking that I'm going to be the only one in the theater. Well, lo and behold, turns out I am not the only Akira Kurosawa Tishiro Mifune fan, but I am definitely not the dorkiest. Place was packed. There was people that knew every single line in that movie and the mannerisms of Tishiro Mifune. And one guy in the opening, one of the opening sequences in the movie is there's a dog that runs down the main avenue with someone's chopped off hand in its mouth, and it's just walking down and through the scene. And one of the people that ended up going to the show brought his dog and had taught his dog how to walk through the front of the theater with a toy hand in its mouth. That was kind of cute and funny, and had a great time. I met some interesting people. Funny enough though, I didn't keep in touch. I didn't ask for numbers or anything like that. But there's enough people to make a samurai movie fan club, which I would definitely be interested in. If you guys don't know, I've seen every single Satoichi movie twice, probably. Man, samurai movies they're so amazing, and the cinematography of those is really something to appreciate from maybe not just a photographer standpoint, but from a visual artist standpoint. And of course, without Akira Kurosawa, we would never have Star Wars, and I will fight you on that forever and ever. Star Wars ain't nothing but a samurai movie with spaceships. That's it. But we have to be careful with our community. We have to nurture it. We have to maintain it, because nothing kills a good community like arrogance and foolish pride. And I'm not talking the kind of pride that a parent has for their offspring who've accomplished something great. I'm talking about the kind of pride you tattoo on your neck. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, how many communities have left us with a bad taste in our mouth because of their arrogance and their superficial way of doing things that's actually doing more harm than good, where with their exclusionary behavior, the you can't sit with us mentality. Bring this home to speak of let's just call it a secular moment here. I love Pearl Jam. It's a great band. They're great people. They do a lot of charity work, and it is just, aside from the music, I mean, I'm not going to get into the top 10 reasons I love Pearl Jam or anything like that. But as much as I love Pearl Jam, I fucking loathe fucking Pearl Jam fans. They are probably the worst rock and roll fans out there. They're like the Raider fans, man. They're fucking terrible. I know Nickelback and Creed probably have better fucking fans than Pearl Jam, and I very much dislike those bands. The issue is this. Like, here's a story. One day, something came across way back when I was doing the booking of the face in a few years ago. I had written a little post on this exact same thing on how I love Pearl Jam, but I fucking hate Pearl Jam fans. Something was online or something came up, and it was just some bullshit competitive stuff that with these people. Like, I don't care what shoe size Eddie Vedder was when he was in 6th grade back in Chicago, 4.5. That doesn't make you a better fan. It doesn't fucking make you appreciate the music more. And this whole mentality is just fucking bullshit. I went to a show out here at the Rebel Lounge right down the street. I must have been wearing an obscure Pearl Jam t-shirt that day. I don't remember why, but this guy came up to me and he started talking, dude, Pearl Jam, I love him. I'm like, yeah, man, fuck yeah. And I thought it was going to be like finding a meet a cool one. And how many shows have you been to? And I'm like, man, I don't, dude. And I already know where this conversation is going. Because Pearl Jam is one of those bands like the Grateful Dead, Fish. I think Radiohead is very similar as well, where people follow them around on tour, wherever it is they go. And I've done that as well. It's if they're in tour in Southern California, I'll go to just about as many Southern California shows as I possibly can. And I've done that with friends, and it's awesome. It's very, very cool. And no, they don't play the same songs every single night. But this guy, obviously, with his first question, dude, and he just said it in such a way that I knew it. And I'm like, man, I've been to over 20 shows. And for the regular fan, that's quite a bit. He's all, dude, I got you beat. I'm going to go to my 40th shows the next time around or something like that. And then he just proceeded to tell me obscure shit about Pearl Jam that basically I already know, but I could give two shits about. And this motherfucker, he scanned every single ticket that he's ever been to. So, of course, he's got to show me the first show he ever went to, some obscure show back in like 92 or something like that. And I'm like, wow, and that's pretty cool. And I'm sitting there and he's all, this is when they played this one song for the first time, and this is the Chicago concert back when that show was amazing. And then, of course, they've toppled shows and things like that. But my point is here, that guy, instead of having an inclusionary, became an exclusionary conversation where it's about competition, not embracing someone that's new. It was about, dude, I'm a bigger fan than you are. I've seen him this many times. And it wasn't like, hey, man, let me buy you a beer. Let's talk about, what do you think about their last album? When you get into that mentality in your community, when you start being competitive with other people in your community, it's bad. It is not good. It snuffs out the creative flow, which is what the whole point is about this. Yes, you can appreciate this and you're supposed to appreciate that, but being in a community, you're supposed to have something, you're supposed to get something out of it, whether it's more than enjoyment. You're supposed to be able to go out and be inspired and inspire others. And obviously in the artistic community, that's the whole point. And we can think of these exclusionary communities that exist. I mean, they exist in everything from diets to sports, obviously religion, musicians. Man, the one community that I think people should come together the most, except country music, fuck you, kidding, you guys, sports, I mentioned, and the key word here is, the real big buzzword is coming around is a tribal mentality right now, and especially during these times where everything is so fucking polarized and everybody is just so fucking offended by any little thing. What's the term? Joe Rogan has that term that I think is very poignant. He calls it recreational outrage. All that negative shit is just drowning, and instead of going out there and maintaining and flourishing in your community and make it better, it gets to this competitive business where it's like, dude, I'm a bigger fan than you are, so this, that, and the other. I am a bigger this than you are. And instead of working together or appreciating each other's love for whatever it is that you are creating, whatever it is that you are a fan about, it just overall makes for a better life, man. I mean, I don't want to go to my samurai group, my little pretend samurai movie group that I've already made, and talk about how I'm a bigger Akira Kurosawa fan than you are because I actually speak Japanese and I can recite every single one of these movies by heart. Or, I'm a bigger Lebowski fan than you are because I know what he means when he says, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes, well, he eats you. It doesn't matter. The cautionary tale here again to take is, I think, as artists and as people who are supposed to be more sensible and definitely more in touch with our emotions, we should also be more aware of how we treat our community and what sort of part we play in our community. Because too, I know you guys know somebody that's even in your community right now, and fuck, I could be that person in my community, where they're just a little more arrogant than everybody else. They're just a little bit more know-it-all than everybody. You begin to wonder, man, why the fuck are you here? But it's obvious that there's a need to share ideas and to be appreciated by not only people outside of your community, but the people inside as well. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you look at these explosions as far as just arts and music. You look at what Seattle was in the late 80s, early 90s. You look at what London was in the 60s. You look at what New York was during the 40s and 50s, even Mexico City during Diego Rivera's time. Of course, San Francisco during certain times as well in the 60s. You look at all these like-minded people, and the reason that these times and places flourish so much is because people were great with their communities. Los Angeles also during that time, there's big explosions of art and music. It works. It's a real thing. But those fall by the wayside because I don't know, man. I don't know. Those are the pros and cons of community. I hope to be part of this community, ongoing community, and I will try to do my best to make it as inclusive as I possibly can. First of all, by just being cool, man. Just fucking be cool. If you don't know how to be cool, be nice. If you don't know how to be nice, be courteous. That's it, man, All right. I got to put my pants on, and I'm going to go out and check out this First Friday thing to try and be part of this community more often, or try to be part of the community on a more frequent basis. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. You guys have a great day and enjoy your year.